Hi, I'm Mike Villemek, Head of Product Marketing for the HR product line, and I'm joined today by Samantha Barth, our Technical Product Marketing Manager. We're here today to talk to you about what's new in the London release for the HR service delivery product. Now, this release is really designed to help further the mission of helping our customers provide that great consumerized employee service experience while also increasing the efficiency in which they deliver that service. So we're going to take a look at 4 new sets of capabilities coming out in the London release. The first one is we're going to show how HR is now able to send out targeted and scheduled content out to their employees using targeted content automation. We're also going to show how we're simplifying knowledge-based article management and making sure that employees only see the content that's relevant to them when they're searching for information using knowledge blocks. We're also going to highlight our newest application within the HR service delivery product, Employee Document Management. This is going to help HR teams electronically manage employee documents from hire to retire. And finally, we'll look at virtual agents, something often referred to as chatbots. This is going to help HR take advantage of automation, help answer those repetitive inquiries a little bit more easily, and really improve the employee self-service experience. So let's start with targeted content automation. This is going to help HR send out targeted content and scheduled content out to their employees. So before this feature, when HR wanted to send out a communication, and this could be anything like information about upcoming open enrollment, a local event, or other important communications, they generally would craft a generic email and then send that out to all employees. And employees would then have to decide, first of all, is this even relevant to me? And if so, which sections are relevant? So not really the greatest experience for an employee. So Samantha, let's show how we can make this process a lot better using targeted content automation.
It's so much nicer. And one of the biggest differences is we were always able to make sure that employees could see or not see an item on the portal or the service center, but this is going to allow a true campaign-like experience, Mike, where the employee is able to get just the right information at the right moment in time. And from the employer's perspective, whether it's HR or a communications team, they can actually pre-stage all the content, including content sent via email or any type of content that would be on the service center, a video, an announcement, a link, a document. All of those tools can appear and disappear at the right moment so that they're served up to the employee when it's helpful to them. In this case, we're going to pretend Emily is in the middle of a relocation that involves an international transfer. We always are able to go find things easily with our search. It's Google-like, it's easy interaction, but it's nicer when we give employees what they need without having to go find it. So this is providing Emily with answers to her questions about her relocation process before she even asks them. We can see at the top she's got 3 announcements, one of which is focusing on the relocation benefits that apply to her. And in addition, there's some links and things that are going to apply to making this job change easier on her family, which all employees don't need to see, but Emily's certainly glad to have that information. Now behind the scenes, I'm going to show you how easy it is to configure this so that you can create these really truly tailored and customized pieces of information, but also be able to set it up like a campaign where I don't have to wait until the day I want it to show to set it up. I can really have all the information pre-staged and have it automatically appear when I'm ready. I've gone ahead in as the agent and pre-filtered this list. So on the left side, what we're seeing is actually the list of different configuration options for the content automation product. I can manage the content itself. I can change notifications because these campaigns can include emails as well as pieces of content we'd put on our service portal. I can actually change the audiences or set up different schedules. And today I'm going to use that relocation announcement we just looked at. We're going to use that to illustrate how we can configure targeted content automation. So let's go into the transfers and relocation information announcement. In here we see all of the usual suspects in terms of rich text and areas we could choose to change the content type, include any number of variables that the system knows so that the information in the announcement is very personalized to Emily. But down below, we'll see a new ability to schedule this content and to set the audience that applies. So I'm just going to pretend we're adding this to someone just so you can see it in full function here. I've got the announcement already scheduled to be provided to employees who have a transfer to our Sydney office in progress. Once I set up the schedule of the content, of course I can give it a name so I can reference it. I determine what the content is. I can determine which of my service portal pages it appears on and which widget or which announcement box that we saw on the page. So I had 3 different announcements at the top. I chose in Emily's case to see it on the left in the first box, but maybe I have a less urgent announcement. I want to put it in an announcement that's positioned on the bottom of the page, something like that. Then I also can change the audience, and this is really powerful. It's using all of the information we already know about employees and about our business. So we've got users information, we've got HR profile information. We can even take data that has to do with things like an event that's going on, like a new hire or an onboarding experience and what's happening there. And then last but not least, when is it important for the employee to see it? So I can change that availability to set a start date or end date of when that content is active. Now, the nice thing about this is, while Emily gets a great experience in that the information is served up to her, she still already has all of the other content she's used to enjoying on the portal. So she can always go open a case, see her to-do items, or search for a knowledge article or a policy.
Love it. And this information isn't just shown on the portal, it's also going to be done through email or other types of communications.
Exactly, yes.
Awesome. Right. So next, let's take a look at how we're going to be simplifying the management of knowledge base articles and really only showing the information that's relevant to a particular employee when they go looking for it. So before this feature, when HR created a knowledge base article, and this could be something on like a relocation policy, they had a choice, or really it was a trade-off. They had to say, we're either going to create one long knowledge base article and have various sections that apply to different employee populations, because a relocation policy may be different for someone based in a different area or be in a different job role. So that was great for HR. They could create one knowledge base article, but it meant that the employee had to go in there and sift through and find out which section was applying to them. Not the greatest experience. Or HR could say, no, we're going to actually create multiple different knowledge base articles targeted to each one of those employee populations. Now that's better for the employee. They know they can easily search and find which section applies to them, but it means that HR now has to manage multiple different knowledge base articles on the same policy. So with knowledge blocks, we really make it so that they can have the best of both. They can create one knowledge base article, and those sections of content are either hidden or displayed based on which employee is actually viewing that article. So Samantha, let's take a look at knowledge blocks.
So much nicer. Boy, the last thing you want to have to do as an employer is if you change something in your policy, you go and make updates into 14 different versions. But as the employee, I need to know I'm looking at the right information. So let's go first into Emily's Service Center, and we'll look at an example using that relocation policy you just spoke about. She's able to see a beautifully branded policy, and her employer's taken advantage of a lot of the configurability to make it really look beautiful, give her the right information, and be engaging. Now, as we're scrolling through here, the nice thing about the knowledge blocks is that we're not going to ever get the wrong information. Here we see a transfer of goods section. We'll use this to illustrate the feature. I don't have to read through and see which piece is true if I'm a US-based sales director like Emily. It's just going to present the right policy detail for Emily. I'm going to show you how we do that behind the scenes, though. So when we're in the article itself, we actually are able to set the criteria of who should see or not see the article within the knowledge block. That means all of this content that's universal, like the picture and the name of the policy, I don't have to update that. But when I have information about the transfer of goods that we were just reviewing, I can pull in the right policy, or the right benefit in this case, based on attributes the system knows about Emily. So here you can see we have a different transfer of goods benefit for our sales organization than we do for our non-sales organization. And the way that it's pulling that in is using this Add Blocks button. So whenever we want to put a knowledge block into a knowledge article, we can simply either create a new one or add a little bit of detail to see what blocks are already available. The nice thing is here, I can set who can read and who can't read information so that when the knowledge article renders, it's only showing me the information that I should be able to see. And the other cool thing is that we can even set it up so that when we want to make a change to the content in the policy, we don't have to check out the knowledge article and start from scratch there. We can go to the specific block where the policy changed, check out that particular knowledge block, update that little piece of the paragraph, and it renders in the knowledge article that it's applicable to. And
Great.
Any knowledge articles that use it, which could be really cool, because you could have articles that use multiple, the block gets used in multiple places, and it will update all those policies at once.
Awesome. So better experience for the employee, more efficient for HR.
Exactly.
Love it. So next, let's take a look at our newest application within the HR service delivery product, Employee Document Management. Now, HR has long struggled with a way to store and manage employee documents in a secure and compliant manner. They've also struggled with giving access to these documents to employees when they need it. So with our newest application, we're allowing HR to manage all these documents electronically in a secure and compliant manner. Samantha, let's take a look at employee document management.
Yeah, this is something that I think solves a lot of pain for employers. I know when I worked in HR, we used to have papers in a file drawer in a cabinet somewhere, and if an employee wanted a copy of it, they would have to come physically get it. I'd go take a Xerox. And heaven forbid, if we cleaned out those file cabinets and got rid of that old stuff, we might grab the wrong copy of the paper. It was a mess. But now we also have a single interface that allows us to manage all kinds of detail about those documents. So what you'll see on the left here is in the HR administration section where I've filtered by document, I can set retention policies, security policies, legal holds. I can look at the log of which documents have been purged. So all in a single place, every piece of paper I need to associate with an employee file is now electronically stored and managed, which is really fantastic for the employer. And then in a minute, I'll show you how easy it is for Emily to get to some of the documents that she might need. I'm going to use a document type to illustrate this feature to you today. And we're going to pick on the disciplinary notices and document type. When we go in here, what you'll see is we are actually able to set all of the information around security policy, retention policy, and legal hold right within this document type. So I will show you each of those here. But I also want to mention that legal hold in particular can be set on an individual as well. So if I want to set a legal hold, what that does is it protects that document so it doesn't accidentally get purged. It makes it an exception to any purge activity that's happening. This is going to be so important to our customers who are potentially needing to keep information during an audit or a lawsuit. And that can be by a particular document type, like if they're being audited, they might need to keep all of the documents related to that audit across all employee files, or if an individual person working for the company or previously employed by them brings a lawsuit, they might want to keep all documents associated with that employee and their manager. In this case, we're going to go ahead and start by looking at the security policy. And what we'll see as we open the security policy is that we can set read and or write access for different groups or roles. And we can even say whether this is an and or an or logic. I've got two different roles that are able to read this article or read this document type, but I've only got one that's able to write or make changes to, upload, replace. In addition, the Authorized Purge tab is really cool because while we want to take advantage of the automated purge functionality, there might be some times when we want to be a little extra careful before a purge is completed. And if so, we can either send a notification, such as in this case, we've asked that the HR investigations team be notified before the purge happens, or we can even require approval before that automated purge can be completed. Now, the last thing I'll mention about the security policy, just one more way to keep things easy for the employer, we don't want to accidentally affect other document types by changing this policy. So if we look down below, we can see all of the documents that are supported by this security policy. And in addition, we could manage additional document types here. Now, the last thing I want to show you on the back side here on the configuration is the retention policy, which similarly can be set to define different retention rules by geography or user criteria. And we've chosen in this case to keep documents for non-US users only 1 year from the date the document was created. In all other cases, we're keeping them indefinitely. So let me just open that and show you exactly how it's set up. It's very simple, and we can easily change the retention period if we decide that, oops, we really want to keep it 2 years instead of 1, or there's a different audience that we need to apply this 1-year retention and purge policy to. Before we go look at Emily's access to the document, I want to point out one important checkbox. You may have noticed this one up here that says Employee Access. It doesn't matter whether or not I am allowing Emily to access her file. There are going to be copies of certain documents that might be highly sensitive and that do not need to be exposed to employees directly. And in such case, we would keep that box unchecked. If we check the box, it provides access for any employee to get to this document type. So we're going to look at the ones that Emily is permitted to see next. Emily's on her Employee Service Center, of course. It's always her one-stop shop. And where we keep all of these employee files is in her HR profile. So she just goes to her HR profile, and if there are any documents that she is able to access, they're going to be presented in this My Documents widget. The widget's hidden if there's nothing to see, of course. And so in this case, we can see that there is a transfer agreement she signed as part of that relocation that we talked about. It's right there, and she can easily download or print a copy of this for whatever she might need it for.
Awesome. Love it. So let's finish off by looking at our last set of capabilities in Virtual Agent, sometimes referred to as chatbot. So employees may often have a question, or they're looking for information and an HR agent isn't available. Maybe it's in the middle of the night. Or maybe it's the type of question that doesn't really require a live agent to get involved. In this situation, this is where a virtual agent can take the burden off those HR agents and provide some automation to be able to provide quick and easy answers to those types of questions for our employees. So Samantha, let's take a look at Virtual Agent.
Yes, virtual agents are really fun and exciting new feature, and we are actually introducing it with several conversations already delivered for our customers as part of the functionality. So they will be able to take this product and immediately use it with the delivered conversations that come shipped, but then even more powerful, they can go in and they can add additional conversations using those that we sent as kind of a template, so that it gets them started more quickly, and they can change and add additional content that their employees are frequently looking for help with. Now, Emily is again on her one-stop shop, the Employee Service Center. We'll go ahead and click on this Get Support link, and that's going to engage the chatbot. And the chatbot window just provides Emily with another personalized, engaging experience where she can get answers to the questions that she has. In this case, we're worried about what happened to that relocation payment. That reimbursement of all the money I spent to get myself moved with my family might be that I put out money to store goods or to ship a container across the ocean. It's going to cost some money, and I want that back.
Pretty important question, yeah.
Pretty important question. And since Emily did not get the payment she was expecting in her last paycheck, she wants to go find out what's going on. We're going to go ahead and check for a pay discrepancy and see if we can figure out where Emily's relocation money went. Now, as she navigates through, the system is using the logic that's been set behind the scenes to tell us which kind of answers might be appropriate for the questions that Emily's asking. And in this case, by entering a note about a pay discrepancy, we got served up some knowledge articles that might help. And we can see here one that might be more generic about getting a different amount in your paycheck. I could check that one, but I noticed there's one right here about relocation expense reimbursement, and that's much closer to the specific question that Emily has. The good news is, as I link into the knowledge article, it does actually tell me that payments to the employee are expected at a home address via a paper check. So she got a little bit of kind of help you get started money that was deposited, and that's the money she saw. The rest she can expect to be mailed to her home address within 30 days. This is great because now Emily knows where the money went and when she can get it. But another thing that's really cool is right within the virtual agent, she could continue with changing her home address to her new address at her relocated home and make sure that the check gets to the right place. If she needed to open a case, the virtual agent can do that for her as well. And our customers can even set it up to escalate a question so that it can be transferred to a live agent. But wait, there's more. If Emily did not get the answers that she needed, we could actually open the case directly here. And what's even cooler is I'm working in the Employee Service Center. I'm here a lot, but I also work in places like Slack. And our product can support virtual agent chats via Slack, Microsoft Teams. You can even have this on a different website if needed. And so the employee can access and interact with the virtual agent wherever they're already working.
Awesome. So I love this because this not only improves the employee self-service experience, but it frees HR from some of the burdens of having to respond to these multiple repetitive inquiries and gives them time to focus more on fixing some of the more complex and value-added activities.
Indeed.
So just to recap, we're allowing HR to give employees the right information at the right time using targeted content automation. We're also helping them display only the user-relevant content using knowledge blocks. We're helping them efficiently manage employee documents from hire to retire using the employee document management. And we're helping automate the response to some of those more repetitive inquiries using our virtual agents. So we are very excited about the value this release is going to provide our customers. That's it for now. Until Madrid, of course. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.